Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sip and Say with Stephanie. Hey, how's everybody doing? Woohoo! You are welcome to Sip and Say with Stephanie. It is so wonderful to be with you on tonight. I am so excited to share a few things with you on tonight. Sip and Say with Stephanie, we're going to be talking about this Tennessee bill that I was actually reading last Thursday after I got off of Sip and Say with Stephanie. We're going to read, or not read, but talk a little bit about the hearings for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. And then I'm going to share a few women that I admire in honor and celebration of Women's History Month. So, woo, how y'all doing? Y'all know I'm like, woo, I celebrate because I'm glad to get to Thursday. I'm glad to be alive, glad to be here in the land of the living, sound mind, activity of my limbs. I am happy. I'm thankful. I'm excited. God is good all the time, and all the time, God is so good, and I honor him and I appreciate him. But I know this is Sip and Say with Stephanie, but y'all know I'm a Christian. And even if I wasn't, I'm going to give God some praise because he by himself is so worthy. And so I'm so thankful for everything that he has done for me thus far in this week. I am thanking him for what's going to occur on this weekend, like my plans for this weekend and my plans for next week. So God is just amazing. And I thank him every day for my life, for who I am. And I thank him for my family. Hey, Humphrey family. How y'all doing tonight? My constant supporters, like my ride or die hard supporters. I thank God for my family. So shout out to the Humphrey family on tonight. Thank you for all of your love and support in my ministry, in this broadcast, in my nonprofits. You all have been absolutely amazing. And I thank God for you. I thank God for the family that he has allowed me to be a part of. Woohoo for the Humphrey family. Y'all, you know what? I'm gonna do me a Humphrey family song. What y'all think about that, Humphrey family? I think we're gonna do a Humphrey family song. Y'all know I can make up songs. Like I literally can make up a song in a few minutes. Like it won't take me long. And I think I told y'all that last Thursday or another Thursday. And I might have a show where you all give me some words or give me a phrase so I can make up a song for you on the spot. I might do that for a future Sip and Say. I'm not gonna do it tonight, but I might do it for a future Sip and Say with Stephanie. So look, y'all, I'm sipping on water tonight. I thought about getting one of my sheet cans, and I was just like, I'm not in an alcohol mood tonight. I'm just not in that mood. And y'all know I don't keep soda. Wait a minute. I actually do have a soda. I was putting some things at the bottom of my pantry, and I realized I had one more ginger ale left from when I was preparing for my colonoscopy. I had a ginger ale left because you could that last day you can only drink clear liquid. So I had one left. So I ended up pulling it out, but I won't drink it. I'll end up taking it to work or something like that because I don't need to drink sodas. So I only keep ginger ale around the house during like special occasions. I don't keep juice in the house. For me, but if I'm having company, I'll try to get some juice or tea or lemonade or some kind of drink outside of water because my family and friends who come over, they don't want just water like I drink. So, anywho, y'all didn't need to know all that, right? See, not too much information, but seriously, I do. I drink water like all the time. So I'm sipping on my water tonight and I feel myself needing this water on tonight, not because I'm thirsty, like I'm not feeling hydrated like I was last week. God is so good. God is a healer, even of minor aches and pains and the seasons and things that our body goes through as we age and such. We need this water to keep our joints lubricated and for me to keep my throat lubricated through this session. So look, what are we going to toast to tonight, y'all? I had not even planned to start toasting, but y'all know I think last month we started toasting. So what are we going to toast to tonight? Tonight, let's toast to, oh, I got a good one tonight, y'all. I got a good one tonight. We're going to do this toast tonight and we're going to do it when the actual confirmation comes. Tonight, I want to toast to Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson for being the first woman, or excuse me, first Black woman on the United States Supreme Court. Cheers. because I believe that's going to happen. Cheers. So what are y'all sipping on tonight? Let me know what you're sipping on. Y'all sipping on water? Y'all sipping on juice? Are you all sipping on tea, sipping on hot chocolate, sipping on a little wine, little beer? What are you sipping on tonight? Let me know. All right, so before we get any further into the broadcast, I want to let you know that we're going to be talking about some sensitive topics on tonight. So if you have a child that's close to you, I want to encourage you to go into a different room just to make sure that they're not exposed to some of the information that I'll be sharing on tonight. I want to be respectful of you as a parent, want to be respectful of your children. So again, if you have children younger than 18, a 16 or 17-year-old could probably handle it. They'll understand. But I want to encourage you, any children, because 16 and 17-year-olds, they're getting older, but they're still kids, they're still children. So any child under the age of 18 that is in your presence, I just want to encourage you to possibly go into another room so that they won't be exposed to this information. This is adult conversation on tonight, okay? Give y'all a minute. All right. The first thing I want to mention, I didn't forget to mention, we are going to talk a little bit about Ukraine. I don't have much to say about Ukraine because I'm sure that all of us are listening to the news. We're reading our newspapers or our online news because, some newspapers you can get online. And so I know we've been hearing and listening to, reading and discussing the war that's going on in Ukraine. We're a month in now, and I know that President Zelensky, he met with some of the world leaders today to solicit more help and support for the Ukrainians. I know that President Biden, he actually, or the United States, President Biden announced new sanctions in Russia. He said that we would welcome around 100,000 refugees to the United States who are fleeing Ukraine. He also met with other world leaders today just to discuss what's going on in Ukraine. And I remember while I was listening to the hearings yesterday, I saw that President Zelensky, he is a president of Ukraine. He did say that he would be willing to have some direct conversations with President Putin, who's the president of Russia. He was willing to have some direct conversations with him and offer to delay their joining to NATO, which we talked about last Thursday, delay their joining in order for a ceasefire. I hate that, like, if he decides to have that conversation with President Putin, I hope President Putin will accept that and stop his destruction in Ukraine. I pray that that is a possibility and that will lead to peace. But I hate that President Zelensky has to delay the freedom of his people to stop another country from invading them. I understand why he's doing it, because you want peace in your country. He's thinking about the Ukrainians, he's thinking about the people that he is in charge over. So I respect and understand, and appreciate this decision, if that talk is available and they're able to go through with it. I appreciate him, making that decision for his people. I just hate that he would have to, I still don't fully understand the arrogance behind keeping a country from being free, from being independent, from living their lives the way that they want to live them, as opposed to under your rule and how you want things done. Because we have separate countries in this world with separate leaders for a reason. Like, not everybody wants to be under a dictatorship as what I see it is in Russia. Everybody doesn't want that type of leadership or want to be under that type of government. They want a democratic government, a person that they can vote in and vote out if that needs to happen as well. And so I hate that the compromise for the Ukrainians have to be, we will have to delay our moving forward and being a fully independent country and one in joining NATO, which would give them support, with other countries around the world. So I'm hoping, though, that that conversation can happen, that President Zelensky and President Putin are able to have a face to face, whether it's like not necessarily, well, face to face in person or face to face via video, but like they see each other face to face and have that conversation. And again, I hope Putin is able to stop the destruction that he is raining down in Ukraine. Now, I do want to say the Ukrainians, y'all, they holding their own. Like they're fighting back. They are doing everything that they can to preserve their country as it currently is. I mean, I don't know how long it will take to rebuild the country of Ukraine because it's been a lot of destruction, a lot of bombs going off. I mean, just unnecessary destruction. Just unnecessary destruction. And so it's going to take them time. They're going to need help in order to rebuild their country once this ceasefire takes place. Excuse me. And I hope that the ceasefire will take place soon and very soon. Soon and very soon. Hey, Mom. Look, my mom says she's sipping on some watered down purple colored Powerade. That's very detailed and descriptive, Mom. Thank you for that. Well, that's what she is sipping on tonight. So let's continue to pray for the Ukrainians. You all, let's continue to pray even for the Russians because there have been Russians protesting this war. They are not in agreement with the governmental decision to invade Ukraine. So they are protesting, and these protesters are getting arrested. They're being detained for standing up for what they believe. As far as they shouldn't be in war. They should not be at war with Ukraine. So they're standing up for what they believe, and I appreciate their courage and their persistence. And let's just pray, y'all. Let's keep the Ukrainians in prayer. If you can give aid, if you're able to give financially, if you have other resources, like I know there was a couple, I don't know the names of this couple or what city and state they're in, but they were donating their frequent flyer miles in order to help individuals get to Ukraine, get back from Ukraine. I believe that I think it was both ways, but they were donating their frequent flyer miles to support the Ukrainians. And in turn, there were other individuals that were donating their frequent flyer miles. So just whatever way you can help. You may not have the money to send, but you can pray. You may not know to pray, but you can send money, and search out some organizations, nonprofits that are giving aid to Ukraine, and donate to those organizations, whatever way you feel, or whichever organization you feel in your heart you want to donate to. Do that to support the people in Ukraine. There are many organizations that are giving direct aid to them with food supplies, with clothing, with medical aid. They're on the grounds in Poland and in other bordering countries giving aid to the Ukrainians who are fleeing this destruction that is happening in their country. So if you can support whichever agency you feel the need to support, if you're able to do that. All right. All right, so that's the Ukraine. So let's move on down to this Tennessee bill. I don't know how in the world I came across this Tennessee bill. I think I started listening to some news reports after I got off of Sip and Say with Stephanie last Thursday, and I almost came back on. I almost came back on to do another live, like a Sip and Say part 2.0, when I read about this bill in Tennessee. Now, I do not live in Tennessee, but I found this bill very interesting, and I wanted to share it with the Sip and Say with Stephanie listeners on tonight in case you haven't heard about it, and I'm curious to know what you think about it. So I did look up this House bill. It's a Tennessee House Bill 2779. I looked it up because I wanted to see the full language of the bill, but I wasn't able to see the full language. It was a lot of codifications and different things. And so I wasn't able to see the full language. Like I saw some of the language in the bill, but the full language of the bill. So I don't have that specific, because I was looking for, like, I was searching for it. I was on the Tennessee website. Like when you go to general statutes and laws and bills in some states, you can easily pull up that bill. Like it's easily, you can pull it up, you can see, everything that's going on with it. So you can see everything that has happened in this bill, from the introduction to the ratifications and different things, but I wasn't able to see it like I normally can see a bill in other states. So anywho, I didn't get to put my eyes on it. So I'm going by the news reports that I've read on several news sites about this House Bill 2779. It states, so it was brought to the floor by Republican State Representative Rebecca Alexander. While discussing House Bill 2779, well, let me tell you what it is first. This House bill, it was passed by the Tennessee House of Representatives Health Subcommittee, okay? It is an anti-abortion bill, and it deputizes, or basically gives citizens the right to sue anyone who is helping a rape victim get an abortion. Yeah, you heard that right. This bill allows for everyday citizens like you and me, if we were in Texas, everyday Texans, to sue anybody. So let me backtrack. Let me say this right. Yeah, I did say it right the first time. It allows, let me backtrack because I missed a piece of it. It allows the rapist family, the family of the rapist, friends, spouses, neighbors of the rapist, to sue any individuals that helps a rape victim get an abortion. So let me make it even plainer. So a young lady is raped by a man. He impregnates her in this rape. If she decides to get an abortion, anybody who helps her get this abortion can be sued by the rape victim's family, by their friends, their spouses, their neighbors. They can sue. Now, this bill does not say that the victim herself would be sued. So the actual rape victim would not be sued, but individuals who help her get an abortion, like, any individuals, medical professionals, whoever helps her get the abortion, they are open to being sued. I don't laugh because it's funny. I laugh because this is stupid, it's ludicrous, it's ridiculous. It is like way, way out of there. Now, again, this bill was brought to the floor by a woman. I want y'all to hear this. Her name is Republican State Representative Rebecca Alexander. She is the one that brought this bill to the floor. And this is what she says about it. She said the bill would allow people to sue anyone who helps someone obtain an abortion, regardless of any standing, this is in quotations, regardless, this is the quotations part, of any standing they have in the case. So citizens, I did say it right the first time, but I wanted to make it even more specific. So citizens would be allowed to sue in civil court for not up to, but for a minimum of $10,000. I have no words. I do have words, but this bill is so stupid that you don't even know where to begin, or I don't even know where to begin to talk about how stupid this is. Like the rape victim is already victimized by this person. I have never been a rape victim, and I thank God for that. But I don't think that a rape victim would want to bear the child of the person that raped them. Now, I do understand abortion laws. I do understand abortion is killing a child. I get that, and I'm not an advocate for abortions. I'm just saying, I can't imagine that a rape victim would want to carry and bear the child and take care of the child of a man who sexually assaulted her by way of rape. So this bill is crazy, y'all, but it passed. Republicans are so hell-bent on holding on to their thought process about abortion that they passed this law in the Tennessee House. Representative Alexander went on to say, my intent is to bring a bill that protects the unborn life in this state. I would love to have that. The Republicans' passion for abortion being pro-life, meaning that they do not believe that abortion should be legalized. They do not believe that women should get abortion. I really wish that I'm not gonna say I really wish. I want to change my wording. I don't understand why they are so strong about life as it relates to an unborn child, but the children that are currently living on the earth, in particular brown and black children, when they get murdered in the street, I don't hear this same passion for that child's life. We want to protect the unborn and keep them from being killed. I get it, I got it. But let's protect the lives of all children and not pick and choose which children we decide to protect. That's all I'm saying. Again, I am not an advocate of murder of any kind. And you can call me double-minded in all my ways. I'm okay with that. I am not an advocate for the murder of any person, whether it be a child or an adult. But I also am not going to dictate to a person what they can do with their own body, because that's between them and their God. And I'm going to leave that right there. I think what people don't understand is that women have been, for various reasons, women have been getting abortions for hundreds of years, like for years. Abortion laws are not going to change women getting abortions. It is just not. No more than having all these drug trafficking laws are keeping drug dealers and drug manufacturers from making their product and from selling their product. And it's shown up not keeping people from buying their product. I understand the purpose of laws. We need laws in place to keep law and order. We do. But I'm just saying, just because the law is in place does not mean that it's going to be 100% of citizens abiding by that law 100% of the time. I'm just saying that how it is. Women are going to find a way to get an abortion, whether that's at a medical facility or whether that's in somebody's house with unsterile instruments and a person that's halfway know what they're doing. Again, I'm not an advocate for killing anybody. I'm just saying this is how it is. So that's Tennessee. Y'all, what y'all think about that? Like, I'm gonna leave that there, but I just again wanted to share that information with you. The rapist, family, citizens, friends, spouses can sue a rape victim. I mean, you think about a 13-year-old child or a 9-year-old child that gets raped and gets pregnant. Like, y'all, this sexual assault and this rape is horrific. It's horrific. So anyway, that's Tennessee law. I pray that this does not set a precedent in other states. I do know that um, there have been abortion laws passed over the last year or two. There's the one in Texas that restricts abortions. That's the one that I'm most familiar with, but there have been abortion laws, you know, happening since forever. I mean, we yeah, it's still a topic that needs further discussion. Well, I'm not even gonna, let me retract that statement. I don't think it's a topic that needs further discussion. I just don't understand why people in our world feel the need to police a woman's body. And I do believe that abortion is policing a woman's body. Again, I'm not an advocate for killing anybody, but I'm not going to tell a woman what to do with her body. Like, I cannot tell anybody what medical decisions they can or cannot make for themselves. And I'm gonna just leave that part there. I can't make that determination. That's between you and your God, whoever you serve or don't serve. I don't have anything to do with that. So I don't understand, because you know what, when I was listening, and I'm going to get to the hearings of justice, yes, she's justice, but Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, I'm going to get to her hearing in just a few minutes, but abortion came up in the conversation, or in the questioning rather, of Judge Jackson. And I was sitting here listening to the discussion or the questions and the information that was given about abortion. And I started thinking, well, what about men? Like, I wish we had some laws that got against men. I told y'all this is an adult conversation. So if your child is in the room with you, get your child out of the room now. Get him out, get him out, get him out now. I want some laws against men sticking their penises everywhere and procreating all these kids that they're not going to take care of. I understand that it takes a woman to open up to allow that man to come in. I get that part. But I'm just saying, he is able to sow his seed here, there, and everywhere without ramifications. But you all want to police a woman's body. Like, I still don't get that. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I did a little bit of research. I mean, I understand Roe versus Wade, but I did a little bit of research. I need to do more research. But I went back to see, well, what set of events led up to Roe versus Wade. I don't have enough information to share that with you on tonight, and I probably won't share it on another Sip and Say unless it comes up in conversation or there's a need for us to discuss it. But I just want to know for myself, like, what were the set of events that led up to this case even going before the Supreme Court? So I pulled the information. I just actually have to sit down, read it, and probably do some more research, because I just want to understand it for myself. But, like, leave us alone. Leave us alone. Like, it's ridiculous to me that there are so many people that had so much to say about mask mandates, like something that will keep you and your family safe. Now, there were different efficacy rates depending on what kind of mask that you had. I understand that part, but masks did help to keep us safe in the respect of not exchanging our coughing and nose secretions and breathing and all of that on each other. It did help. Y'all don't believe it? I'm gonna just talk for myself. It helped keep me safe during this pandemic. And there was so much divisiveness and negativity about these masks, but yet y'all want to tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body. Y'all, there was one lady, I was watching it was so funny, y'all. I was watching Kleppner, I can't think of his name, but he's a part of Noah. Lord, I can't even get my thoughts here. Trevor Noah, thank you. He's a part of Trevor Noah's team. And so he was out in various parts of the country. I think this particular one was in New York, but he was out talking to people about mask mandates and what they thought about it and different things. One lady actually likened or compared mask mandates to the Jews being held in detainment camps during during the Holocaust. During the Holocaust. Like, she likened that same restriction or that same quote unquote oppression. That's what she like. It was oppression for the Jews, but wearing a mask was not oppression. I mean, come on, somebody. But she likened the oppression that the Jews faced under Hitler's rule, under Nazi rule, to her wearing a doggone face mask. Lord have I mean, and I was listening to her, I was like, no, am I really hearing what I thought I heard? So it's so interesting that there was so much ridiculousness related to wearing a face mask, but it's okay to tell a woman what to do with her body. So I'm gonna leave that there because I hadn't planned to stay on abortion for that long. I just, again, not an advocate for killing nobody, but I'm also not an advocate of you telling a woman what she can and cannot do with her body. That's between her and her God. And I said that 3 times. That could have been the 4th time I said it, but I'm sticking with it. All right, so that's the Tennessee law. Let's move on to the hearings. Y'all, did y'all listen to any of the hearings of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson? So I did not listen to day 1 of the hearings because I forgot about it. I like totally forgot about it. So I did not hear any of the first day hearings, and I did not go back and listen to any of them as of yet. I did listen to the majority of day 2. And I listened to almost all of yesterday, except for every now and then I had to, run and do something and take care of this or whatever. But I was tuned in to day 2 and day 3, and I was tuned in today to listen to the witness testimony. So day 2 and day 3. So day 1 was the opening statements from Judge Jackson, as well as the members of the Judiciary Committee. And day 2 and day 3 involved the senators asking her questions. What was supposed to be them asking questions concerning her nomination to the Supreme Court, but it ended up being something else for some of the senators who asked questions. So it was, it caused me to cringe during some of the questioning. It also caused me to think about children, because some of the senators, in my opinion, this is been say with Stephanie, in my opinion, were acting like children, asking Judge Jackson the questions that they were asking in the way that they were asking. To me, it was more in their presentation, their tone of voice, their disrespect, their demeaning, and diminishing her and all of the accomplishments of her life. It was just so disrespectful. And so I wanted to turn off the screen several times, but I didn't want, and I know this might sound crazy to you, but I didn't want to leave Judge Jackson by herself. Like, I knew she had her family there, like her mom was there, her husband were there, her 2 girls were there on the 2nd day. I think they were there some of the 3rd day, but I don't think they were there the whole day, because like Tuesday went up until maybe 8:30, 9:30, 10. It was a late day. And then yesterday ended about 7, like around 7:15, 7:20. And both of them started, I think Tuesday may have started around 8:30. Yesterday started about 9:15. So it was like a full day with breaks and of course lunch, but it was a full day of questioning. So I don't think her daughters, her and her husband have 2 daughters. I don't think they were there the full day on the 4th, but her mom and dad, like I said, her mom and dad were there. They're former educators. I shared information about them last Sip and Say with Stephanie. So go ahead and tune in to last week's broadcast to get the family information and background information about Judge Jackson. But so it was 2 full days, and I forget where I was going because I took a lot of detours there. But I listened to the trial, and some of the presentation was disturbing. Like, I'm looking at them and I'm like, are these like full grown men and women? Like, are these adults that I'm listening to, or are these children that I'm listening to? Because the presentation, it was, like I said, it was disrespectful. Like, currently I'm in a different position, but when I was in the classroom, I worked with 3, 4, and 5-year-olds who had varying abilities. And my children could teach those senators a thing or two about respect, about listening, about waiting your turn. I mean, they can really teach them senators some things. So if you didn't hear the hearings, I encourage you to go back and listen to the clips. I know you actually can find most of the days on YouTube. Like there were several news broadcast stations streaming it on YouTube, and of course the videos are there for you to go back and listen to it. But the one thing that I really wanted to highlight, if your child is in the room with you, move to another room because this is adult conversation. But one thing that some of the senators kept talking about was Judge Jackson being soft on child pornography, soft on her rulings in those individuals that were convicted of child pornography. So I looked it up. I said, I want a little bit more information about this. Several, if not every single one, I don't think it was every single one, but the majority of the Republican senators asked about child pornography. A few of them were very rude, I'll just say rude and ridiculous in the way that they presented the information about child pornography. So it led me to think about, okay, so Judge Jackson, her history of ruling on child pornography cases, is thoroughly outlined. But it led me to think about, well, what is the precedent with other judges? Like, how have other judges ruled in child pornography? So I did some research. And there was not plenty, like several news outlets wanted to debunk. Because see, this is what I found happens. Hey, Auntie, how are you? This is what I found has happened, and I did not listen. So this is the first Supreme Court nominee hearings that I've ever tuned into live. Like I've gone back and listened to a few videos with Brett Kavanaugh. I went back and listened to even fewer videos when Amy Coney Barrett was going through her hearing process. And so I know that the Republicans and Democrats are harder on the opposite candidate. Like President Trump nominated Amy Coney Barrett, so the Democrats were hard on her from what I understand. And from the little bit I saw, I didn't see much because I only watched a little bit of it, but from what I understand, they were hard on her because she was nominated by a Republican president. Same with Brett Kavanaugh, nominated by a Republican president, so the Democrats were hard on him. And these Republicans, I mean, they really went in. They went in on Judge Jackson to the point of being rude and disrespectful. Now, I don't know the background of all of the senators that were serving on the the Judiciary Committee that is hearing, what Judge, or asking questions and hearing what Judge Jackson has to say. I don't know their background. I don't know how many, and some of them mentioned it, but I just don't remember. Some of them may have a background in being a lawyer or whatever the case may be, but I don't know if any of them have been a judge. I don't know if any of them have the extensive law resume that Judge Jackson has. So I'm sitting here thinking these less qualified folks are asking her questions that they obviously don't know anything about because they're having their team doing all this research. Anyway, that's another conversation, but that's how I feel about it. This sip and say with Stephanie. So I'm gonna say what I want to say. I'm gonna take another sip. So I'm gonna say it again. If your child is in the room, move them out of the room so that I can share this information, because we do not want to expose them to anything that you as a parent don't want them exposed to prematurely. Okay, so get them out of the room. All right. So let me go to where I want to go to. All right, so I want to start here. So there were several senators that indicated that Judge Jackson was soft on sentencing individuals who were before her court for child pornography. What some of the senators, and I don't want to call out any of their names because I just don't want to, because I just don't want their names on my broadcast. I just don't. And so I will say that based on the information that I researched on my own, they did not give all the facts. As they were presenting information about Judge Jackson's cases, they did not give the full scope of the cases and the information related to her case that they should have. It's just like people who pick and choose verses in the Bible to accommodate their sin. It was the same way with these senators. They picked and choose what would make the case that they were making against Judge Jackson. They picked and choose what would make their case look good and Judge Jackson look bad. What they must not remember is just that Judge Jackson had been twice confirmed by Congress, bipartisan by Congress, as a judge, as a district court judge in DC. Like, they recently confirmed her. And so now, why they all of a sudden have a problem with her, I don't know. I have my thoughts about it, and I may share it in just a few minutes, but let me give you the information that I want to give you about this. So what I found out is that Judge Jackson's ruling, in some of her cases, she gave the offender less than what was recommended by the guidelines that she has to follow. The guidelines for child pornography are set by Congress, of which the senators are members of Congress. So these are their guidelines. She is following guidelines set by Congress, and she's trying to work within those guidelines in order to give the sentence for that particular crime. So let's look. According to a 2020 United States Sentencing Commission report, less than 30% of non-production, these are non-production child porn offenders, received a sentence within the guideline range. Less than 30%. That means that over 70% of judges may have ruled in a lesser, or given that offender a lesser sentence than the guidelines suggested. And when they're talking about non-production child pornography, they're talking about like images. Like, they're not actually going out and committing like child pornography or child like sexual assault and different things like that. We're specifically talking about child pornography as it relates to like images, like, mainly computer images, because a lot of it you can, download on the computer. So those are the non-production child porn offenders. So this is what Judge Jackson said. She said that she takes into consideration a range of factors at sentencing, including the sentencing guidelines, which are set by Congress, of which the senators are members of Congress, the recommendations from the government, as well as recommendations from defense, and the probation officer's report, the probation office's report and recommendations. So there are a few different factors that she uses in order to determine the sentencing for these child pornographer offenders, okay? And let me just tell you, because I had to look up what the probation office did. So let me just flip back and let me tell you what they do. The probation office is the arm of the court that does factual investigations in every criminal case. I'm gonna read that again. The probation office is the arm of the court that does factual investigations in every criminal case, unless that requirement is waived. And in some cases, that requirement is waived. Okay, so Judge Jackson, as well as other judges, they use that information as well as the other information I just shared in order to determine their sentencing for these child pornographer offenders. Now, I said earlier that Judge Jackson was confirmed by Congress, bipartisan Congress. That means both Republicans and Democrats voted for her to be on the appeals court. This happened just last year. Her record on child pornography did not come into play. It was not questioned at all. It was not, but when I say that almost every single Republican senator asked about child pornography, and some of them made it their main line of questioning for the 30 minutes and then the 20 minutes that they stayed on this child pornography, y'all. They shared information. You know what? I was really hoping that there weren't any like history teachers or social studies teachers like on the high school level that allowed their students, because I was thinking, well, maybe this might be a good time for students to like, as a part of their class, to listen into the hearings, to hear what it's all about, to just gain that information in civics and in government. And so I was hoping that there weren't any teachers allowing their children to listen, or allowing their students to listen to these hearings, because some of the information that was shared was, in my opinion, a little bit more graphic than should have been shared. That's just what I'm thinking from the perspective of an educator and from the perspective of an auntie. I was just like, some of the information that they shared was more detailed than what it could have been, and what I'm going to say what it should have been. All right. Okay. So let's look at a few of the cases. Let's see. I do have information about her cases in particular, but before I get to Judge Jackson's cases in particular, I want to share information about other judges that some of these senators actually confirmed to be a judge. I want to talk about their sentencing first to show you how it compares to Judge Jackson. And the reason why I'm focusing on the child pornography part of this is because that was the majority of the questioning that came forth. There's nothing that I really want to focus on, but because there was so much information, so much questioning, so much badgering, and so much disrespect towards Judge Jackson as it relates to this, I just wanted to share this with us, okay? That's a good point. I'm going to read that in just a minute. So just to give you some background information about what other judges do, I want to share this with you. So in 2013, the United States versus Sherman, Thaper, Judge Amol Thaper, Thapar, excuse me if I'm saying your name wrong, Judge, but he is the judge in the Eastern District of Kentucky. He was confirmed in 2017. He actually sentenced a person to 360 months for the production of child pornography. The government recommended 1,080 months. So he was sentenced under what the government recommended, just what they were accusing Judge Jackson of doing. But again, this judge was confirmed to the Sixth Circuit in 2017. Andrew Basher, he's a judge in Alabama, confirmed to the 11th Circuit in 2020 with one of the senators' support. He actually gave a defendant, a 69-year-old defendant, for receipt and possession of child pornography, 84 months, when the guidelines were 151 to 188 months. So again, he was sentenced under what was recommended. Joseph Bianca of New York was also supported and confirmed supported by one of the senators that badgered Judge Jackson with questions. This judge, the guidelines were for 151 to 188 months, but he was sentenced to only 60 months. I'm gonna give you one more. I have more, but I'm gonna just give you one more. Judge Richard Sullivan of New York, he sentenced a 28-year-old defendant to 18 months when the guidelines were 63 to 78 months. So you can see that there are other judges who gave sentencing to defendants lower, and in some cases much lower, than the recommended guidelines. They did the same thing that Judge Jackson was accused of. I do have her record, but I'm not going to read it to you because I think we've talked about child pornography enough, because I heard it enough the last 2 days, and I'm pretty sure you have heard it enough. I've already lost one person talking about child pornography, and that's okay. But they accused her of doing something that other judges have done that they supported. And I don't understand. Well, I do understand the double standard. She's a woman, they're men. I don't know their nationality, but she's a Black woman. And I am convinced, y'all, this is Sip and Say with Stephanie. I'm going to say what I want to say. I am convinced that there are white men in our world, including some white men in Congress, senators and state representatives, not state representatives, but the United States House of Representatives. I am convinced that there are some white men serving in those two bodies, senatorial body, the U.S. House of Representative bodies, which make up Congress, white men in Congress, who fear Black women, who fear educated. I'm not frozen. I froze myself with my screen and read educated Black women. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is an educated Black woman who has served as a defense attorney. She served as a judge. She law clerk for the senator that not for the senator, but for the justice that I believe she will be replacing. Like, she has an extensive history in law. And I think they are afraid of that. Their pride, their arrogance, their fear, their insecurity showed strongly during the hearings of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. I love saying her name, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. So I'm gonna stop there with the child pornography because enough was enough. They also asked her about like critical race theory. There wasn't a lot of questions about critical race theory, but I wanted to mention this because there are so many crazy conversations happening in school boards across the United States about critical race theory. If you don't know, now you know. Critical race theory is not taught in public schools. It never has been taught in public schools. I don't think it ever will be taught in public schools. You want to know why? Critical race theory is a class that law students take. Law students. That means not 4-year-old undergraduate students, but those who are working towards their degree in law. They take this particular class. It has nothing to do with elementary school, nothing to do with middle school, nothing to do with high school. But you know what? The Republicans, with their fear tactics as part of their playbook, part of the Republican playbook is fear tactics. If you say something long enough in a fearful manner, in a manner that's going to incite fear, then they can make it seem like it is truth when it is not. I went to I can't remember which school I went to. I think I went to Harvard for this information. But there is, I think this is Harvard. Let me make a note to look it up and add it to the description because I didn't write the college down. But I'm going to add it to the description once I am off the broadcast and get settled. But I actually pulled up the class description for a critical race theory class, the description for the class. It says, this seminar examines the role of the law and legal activism in perpetuating and alleviating racial inequality in the United States. I'm gonna read that again. This seminar examines the role, R-O-L-E, role of the law and legal activism in perpetuating and alleviating racial inequality in the United States. Several questions animate our readings and discussions, letting the students know that this is what's going to happen in this class. First, how have laws and legal institutions shaped racial identity. It says laws and legal institutions. We don't teach that in public schools. Second, how have ideas about race shaped legal institutions? Again, we don't do legal things in public schools. Third, why does racial inequality persist despite social movement, organizing, and progressive legal transformation? So all of this is going to be talked about, and there's more information here that talks about their examining of debates of race theorists and identifying the stakes of the debates that come forth as far as race theories. They're going to have those discussions within this critical race theory classroom. Again, critical race theory is a class that is taught in law schools, like in law schools. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it originated at Harvard Law. So yes, they did ask her about critical race theory. One of the senators whose name I know, but I will not say, she actually asked, and you'll know who I'm saying because I said she. She asked Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to define what a woman was. And Judge Jackson's reply was, I'm not a biologist. I understand, and I know people were saying, well, why can't she just answer the question, what is a woman? Because you have to understand the intent behind the senator asking the question. The senator asked the question because she was wanting to make a case about males being males, females being females, and dismissing like the LGBTQ plus community. That's why she posed the question. And I'm glad that Judge Jackson answered the question the way that she did. I'm not a biologist. Like, she clearly knows what a woman, her definition of a woman and her definition of a man. But it was a bait question. And I'm glad that she did not, because in her intelligence, she wouldn't have anyway. But I'm glad that she did not address that with that senator. Now, I believe a man is a man and a woman is a woman. Like, I know that there are LGBTQ plus in our communities, in my schools, and I've had students that identified as within the LGBT community. It does not, your lifestyle as an LGBTQ plus person does not bother me at all. You got a choice to live your life the way that you want to live it. I'm just saying, I believe that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. That is what I believe. And so again, the senator for Judge Jackson was trying to bait her, and thankfully she did not take the bait. My mom asked, okay, so my mom asked about, let me get this, make sure that I'm addressing the questions as I'm talking about this. So let me go back to a comment my mom made about when we were talking about Ukraine. She said that war affects everyone, either directly or indirectly. It doesn't matter if it's in your home or it doesn't matter if it's in my home or your home. I definitely agree, because a war in Ukraine are affecting citizens in the United States of America, because we do have people from Ukraine that are United States citizens. And so of course that's affecting their heart and possibly their mental state and their family. Not only that, but like I feel such sorrow for the people in Ukraine when I see, and I know I took a dive. I'm coming back to Judge Jackson. I'm coming back to her in just a minute. I took a detour, but I'm gonna drive back on the road. But when I see the images and the videos of the destruction that's happening in Ukraine, I feel so sorrowful for them. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't even care about the gas prices. Like, do I like paying more at the pump? No, but I don't really care about the gas prices. I really care about, there are people losing their lives in Ukraine. I don't know what the number is today because I didn't look it up. But there are hundreds of people that have lost their lives as a result of this prideful, arrogant dictator. Yes, I'm going to call him a dictator, who has chosen to invade Ukraine. And for what? And for what? So yes, war does not just affect the homeland that it's occurring on, it affects people throughout the world. I definitely agree with that statement. My aunt wrote a message. I'm going to show it because it's asking me to do that, because I put some settings within my account to address like sensitive notes. So I'm going to show this one. My aunt asked, can the raped female sue the rapist family and friends for child support while he is in jail? According, not that I'm aware of, the Tennessee law that they just approved last week does not allow for that. Because I agree with you, like the rape victim is already suffering physical anguish, mental anguish, emotional anguish. And now she has to worry about a trial going forth that could potentially detail the rape that she endured, and detail, how the abortion, not like what happened with, with the abortion, if that's what she decides to do. Like, I feel like a lot of our laws are meant to desecrate and demean and keep women oppressed. Because I don't know of one law, and all you lawyers, all you political people, please correct me, because I am open to being educated. I'm open to get new information. I don't know of one law that's on the books that, like, of course we have laws. Let me say it like this. There are laws that police a woman's body as far as abortion is concerned, but there aren't any laws that specifically address men as it relates to what they can and cannot do with their bodies. Yes, I understand that there are laws against child pornography. There are laws against sexual assault. There are laws against like physical abuse. There are laws against all of that. There are laws there, but I don't know if those laws are adequate enough to deter men from raping a woman or sexually assaulting a woman or physically abusing a woman. Like, I just feel like the laws that they have in place, just like the senators were saying that that Judge Jackson was soft on this particular crime, I feel like the laws that should be supporting women don't. They just don't. And so there's nothing to say that the rapist can, or the female who is raped, there's nothing to say that she can get child support or that she can, sue this family. There could be contingencies by state that allow some sort of recompense for that rape victim. But as it relates to the Tennessee case, there's nothing in this particular House bill that addresses any type of compensation or help for the rape victim herself. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's something. Like, right, if she can't abort the child, she's going to need some type of financial support. The rapist should be allowed to give it to her. I mean, I guess she can go for child support. But again, this particular House bill doesn't address that. Y'all, some of our laws are twisted, y'all. Some of the laws, our state laws as well as federal laws, they are twisted. And the thing about it, you all, the laws that are being presented before Congress, or that Congress presents themselves, these are by elected officials. Like, I'm telling y'all, we need to be mindful of our local elections, our state elections, and our federal elections. We need to understand the background of these state senators and these state House representatives and these United States senators and United States House of Representatives. We need to know their background. We need to know their stance on issues. We need to look at their history and see what have they done in the political realm. Like, what is their history as it relates to the issues that are near and dear to our heart? Because once they get in office, they have that authority to present these bills, that are stupid, that are ridiculous, that don't serve anybody. Like what that bill from Tennessee serves absolutely nobody. What's going to end up happening is people are going to people are going to be looking, trying to figure out, well, who's getting an abortion and who's helping them, because I need this minimum $10,000. The minimum was $10,000, y'all. It didn't give a maximum. So maybe they could sue for $1 million or $500,000, $2 million, whatever. I don't know, because the minimum is 10,000. Y'all, I'm gonna let that go. Y'all, I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. All right. So let me see what else is in the chat. Yes, I was wondering about that. There was one. Y'all, hold on. Let me take a minute. Let me take a minute. There was a senator that was asked, Lord have mercy, y'all. Let me just take another minute. There was a senator that was asking Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson about her religion. To me, he was asking her about her religion to the point of badgering her. Yes, I do know which senator it was. I'm just not going to say his name because I don't want his name on my broadcast. But he was asking her about her religion to the point of badgering her. Because if I'm recalling correctly, she kind of made a face like, kind of, where is this line of questioning going? I don't know why he was asking her about her religion. Most Republicans are conservative. They are for, heterosexual relationships and marriages. They are pro-life. They are conservative Christian. Now, look, y'all. So the Bible says that we will know people by their fruit. The Bible says we will know people by their fruit. So based on your interactions with people, based on your conversations, based on how you present yourself and conduct yourself, based on your actions, we as Jesus followers can deduce if you are indeed a Jesus follower. We can deduce if you are following the Bible, the principles outlined in the Bible as modeled by Jesus Christ when he was here on the earth. Like, we can look at your lifestyle, your actions, your words, and deduce or determine if you are a man or woman of God. Now, saying that, I cannot in good faith say that some of the professing Christians on the Judiciary Committee from according to these last, so let me say it like this. I can't say that some of the Christians or some of the senators that are professing to be Christians, in their actions on the Judiciary Committee, their fruit did not indicate to me that they were Christians. To me, their fruit was rotten. It was stinky. It was not producing anything. I didn't see any ripe fruit from some of the professing Christians, or the professing senators, the senators professing Christianity on the Judiciary Committee as they engaged in question and answers with Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. I didn't see any good fruit. I don't know what y'all saw, but I'm just telling you what my fruit inspection saw. My fruit inspection will not give them a grade A. My fruit inspection is going to give them a grade F and a grade Z if there was such a thing. So I don't know why he was badgering her about her religion. There is a separation of church and state. So I'm not quite sure where his line of questioning was coming from. It is possible that if I do some research about it, I can find out what his purpose was, because just in watching that and listening to him, I was trying to see, well, where is he going with this? Because even though he was asking her all those questions, I don't remember it coming back to a purpose. I don't remember him making a point about it. So I don't even know. So let me read a few of the other comments, and then I'm going to do a few last things. Yes, I agree. My aunt says in the comment, it seems like men are still blaming the female for being raped. like the female caused it. The one who passed this law would feel different if it was their female family member. Exactly. Because y'all have to realize most of the laws that are in existence right now were passed by white men. White men. Most of the laws that were passed by white men. Okay? And so I do believe that they would feel differently if it was their wife or their daughter. God forbid. I'm definitely not, speaking this on anybody, but I do feel like we do feel differently when things hit close to home. So I do believe that the senators would feel differently if it was their child or their wife or their niece or their cousin or their sister or their mother, because again, when things hit close to home, sometimes it can, change our perspective about how we feel about things, So yeah. There's also a comment about some men in power. My mom made this, some men of power, she put in quotates, of power, as feel as though a woman is inferior and their only usage is for sexual pleasure or to produce a male heir. I do agree with that. And in the case of Black women, y'all, I have heard people say this for many years, that that white men are afraid of a intelligent Black woman. And I listen to that and I hear, and at the time, I didn't really think about it one way or another, but over this last year or two, I'm starting to believe that there are white men who are afraid of an educated Black woman, because you cannot tell an educated Black woman nothing. Hear what I'm saying? Not to say that they're not teachable, not to say that you can't have a conversation with them, but you are not going to hook and bait them on your foolishness, because they're not going to fall for it, because they have more intelligence and more integrity and more class than to stoop to the level of some of the white men who are afraid and feeling insecure as compared to this intelligent Black woman. And I'm not just talking about Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, I am talking about her, but I'm also talking about other educated Black women. And when I say educated, it does not necessarily mean all of your degrees, because we can be educated in different ways. Okay, so I'll say an educated and intelligent Black woman. There is a fear there. I am convinced, watching the judiciary hearings yesterday, I am convinced that there are white men who, in their pride and in their arrogance, are insecure and fearful of a Black woman, of an intelligent, educated Black woman. And you know what, y'all? All pride and arrogance is fear. Pride and arrogance is rooted in fear. Don't let nobody fool you. And what I saw coming forth from some of those senators was fear. They kept cutting Judge Jackson off. They asked her a question, but would not allow her to answer it. And as I continued to listen and watch what was going on, what ended up happening was they would allow her to answer, but as she started revealing more and more truth, debunking some of their presentations, when she started speaking truth and debunking some of their presentations, they wanted to cut her off, because they did not want that truth to be shared, because they wanted the American people, as they kept talking about the American people, they wanted their base to see her in a negative light. It just was what it was. And you don't have to be an educated person as far as degree education to know that. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to oh, yes, there is. I feel very proud of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. I'm very proud of her appointment to the Supreme Court justice, which I think she is going to receive. I'm believing that she'll receive it, and am celebrating already her appointment to the United States Supreme Court of the United States of America. No, we have not had, or not we, but no, Congress has not voted I'm just speaking life, because the Bible says I can speak those things that be not as though they were. I'm speaking life. I'm speaking what I believe needs to happen and should happen. So I'm speaking that she will soon be Associate Justice of the United States of America. But I really, and I'm going to read some more comments in just a minute. I really appreciate it. Yesterday, both days were rough, but yesterday, I don't know if I could have kept my composure as well as Judge Jackson did. Like, she kept her composure. There were a few moments where I recognized her look as a woman, and then as a Black woman, I recognized her look. And I was just like, if we could just suspend time for just one moment for us to do what we need to do or say what we need to say, I would be there, ride or die with you, Judge Jackson. But so I recognized some of her expressions, again, as a woman and as a Black woman, but she really held herself together. She really took the abuse. Ooh, that's what it was, abuse that came from some of the senators. And when Senator Cory Booker, y'all, when he started, I mean, I don't know if Cory Booker is a Jesus follower or not. Like, I don't know if he follows the principles of the Bible. I hesitate saying Christians because so I'm gonna just say a Jesus follower. I don't know if Cory Booker is a Jesus follower or not, but I believe that the Holy Spirit spoke through him in order to provide encouragement and inspiration and support to Judge Jackson yesterday. Like, he was speaking to her like a big brother would speak to her sister, or like a cousin would speak to, your big cousin would speak to the little, like, he spoke life to her. I don't know if you all saw or heard him speak to her. I don't know if you sensed what was happening, like if you sensed the flow of God in between, Cory Booker and Judge Jackson, but he spoke life. Like, I could feel it here in my in my kitchen. I could feel the flow of encouragement and building up that took place within her as Senator Cory Booker spoke life to her. He was able, as a Black person, he was able to identify with the struggles that she had gone throughout her life. He was able to identify with the fact that we're both Black folk here, where it's not a lot of representation in Congress or in our government, in the Supreme Court, or on the Supreme Court. There's not a lot of representation there. And he was able to speak to her brother to brother. Brother to sister, Black person to Black person. So I was a Black person, he was, because y'all, you know what? I know that there are white people, we saw it during the civil rights movement. There are white people who joined in the fight of civil rights, equality for all. I thank you to my white sisters and brothers. I thank you for joining us. I thank you for your support of, your support of the Black experience. But I feel like white people understand and recognize, and I'm going to say it, until you have walked in this brown skin, you cannot 100% identify what it is like to walk in this brown skin. Yes, I appreciate your support. I appreciate your, joining with us and your unity with us. But again, white people, Latino people, Asian people will never be able to understand what it is like to walk in this brown skin. So he spoke to her from Black person to Black person. And I didn't see her crying like live while it was happening, but I did go back and see some of the clips, and she did wipe a few tears. And what he said to her actually inspired me. Like, he wasn't just speaking to Judge Jackson, he was speaking to me too. I don't know how you felt about it, but I received what Cory Booker was sharing with Judge Jackson. And I was also able to read between the lines of what he was saying. Because see, what he said publicly, I'm pretty sure he would have added a little bit more if it was just them two, because we Black people, we know how we are, and we know our struggles better than anybody. So we can identify with each other. We can encourage each other. We can build each other up from that place of struggle, because we all know the struggle. And I don't care if you are a educator, a sanitation worker, a politician, a congressman, a congresswoman, a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, a janitor. It does not matter your occupation. Housekeeper, it does not matter your occupation. If you're in this brown skin, you can identify with what goes on in this brown skin. Oh, but I do have an exception. There are a few Black people who I don't think know that they're Black people. Who may not be able to identify with this brown skin. I see a couple of names floating in my mind. I'm not going to say them. Some of y'all have known, or some of you know who they are. You've heard them speak. You've seen some of their rhetoric on social media or other news platforms. Well, I'm going to say other news platforms, but on social media or on news platforms. So there are some brown people who share their skin with me that don't know they're a brown person. So those are the exceptions. They're over there somewhere. But those who can identify with my brown skin, we understand the struggle, and so we can build each other up. I love what Judge Jackson shared when she said that her debate coach took her to Harvard, and that was her first introduction to Harvard. And she said that there was an African-American woman, like they were, walking by each other, and she felt like that African-American woman, that Black woman, could sense what she was feeling. And as they were passing, that Black woman leaned over to her and said, "Persevere. Persevere." That touched me. So and I was just like, man, we know each other's struggles, and we know, again, how to encourage each other to keep moving forward, keep pushing, persevere. Don't let their looks stop them. Don't let their words stop them. Don't let the barriers that they try to place in your way stop it. Knock them doggone barriers down and get where you need to be as a Black woman, as a Black man. Go forth. And so that really touched me. Okay, so let me get back to the comments. I actually have some more things to share that I might try to hit really fast in honor and celebration of Women's History Month. But let me see. I believe that, you know what, I've actually thought about that. My mom made the comment, many of their wives are sexually abused by that person or by their male friends. I thought about that because I was like, I feel like a man who respects women respects all women, whether that woman is Asian, whether that woman is white, whether that woman is Black, whether that woman is Latina, whether that woman is a Native American or an Indigenous woman. I believe a man who respects women respects all women. And so if you pick and choose the women that you choose to respect, then to me, you don't respect women at all. And so I have thought about, like, I wonder what their home life is like. Like, I wonder, like, what kind of life their wives are living or their daughters are living under their roof. I have definitely thought about that. Also, some feel powerless by the statute or karma that the presence of a woman presents. I agree that intimidation, there are some men who are intimidated by women, whether that's a Black woman, a white woman, an Asian woman, a Latin American woman, a Latina, well, I said Latin American or Latina woman, a Native American woman, an Indian woman from like India, Asian. There are men who are just intimidated by women, period. But then when you throw an educated, intelligent Black woman in the mix, I think that fear can elevate times 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100. So I definitely agree with that statement. So Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, I believe, will soon be called Associate Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, and I want to be one of the first, Judge Jackson, to congratulate you. First of all, I congratulate you on your nomination, and I want to say congratulations on your appointment to the United States Supreme Court of the United States of America, because I believe it's coming. Amen, amen. All right, y'all. So, okay, I'm done with that. So the last thing that I want to share, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it because I'm going to make it brief. I really do want to highlight Yes, I agree. My mom mentioned, I know you are speaking on a political level. If a woman used common sense and standing on what she knows, a man is offended. I agree. And I'm not just talking about on a political level. I'm talking about in any arena, whether you are in your home with your spouse, whether you are on your job, whether you are at the grocery store. Like, I've had some men that try to disrespect me, but they don't know Stephanie Humphrey. Here. Yes, I've had to stand up for myself against some men that thought, because of their testosterone, that they could come against my estrogen, and my estrogen is on 1,000. Hear me when I say, don't mess with me. So yeah, so I do. So yes, I do believe that just in general, regardless of your position or your status or your role, whatever your role is, I believe that some men can be intimidated just because you have a vagina. I told y'all to get the kids out of the room just because you have a vagina. That's just the way I feel about it. This Sip and Say with Stephanie, so I'm going to do what? I'm going to say what I want to say. But yes, there are men that are intimidated by women. I'm not quite sure why, because my thing is, if you are confident in who you are, if you're confident in your skills, if you are confident in your ability, if you are secure in your purpose and your destiny, then nobody around you can deter you or shape you or cause you to be insecure for whatever reason. Like, if you're confident, you're secure in who you are, then nobody else should be able to shake you. Regardless if they have a higher education level than you have, regardless of if they have a higher position than you have, regardless if they have a more in-depth or a larger or longer bank account, longer meaning all them zeros in their bank account. It does not matter. If we are secure in who we are, whether you're a man or a woman, if you are secure in who you are, then you don't have to worry about being intimidated by other people. You don't have to worry about being intimidated by their success or by their elevations or by the appointment to the United States Supreme Court of the United States. I did say the U.S. United States Supreme Court. You don't have to be intimidated or fearful by that if you are secure and confident in who you are. And I have found in this short time that I have lived upon this earth that people are insecure for whatever reason. Sometimes it might be because you were abused, and that insecurity came from that, or because you don't know your purpose, so there's some insecurities there, or people have demeaned you and talked down to you most of your life or all of your life, and you haven't been able to pull yourself up. So for whatever reason, we do have a lot of insecure people in our world, but I would encourage you to get to know you. Get to know you. There is no better confidence builder than for you to get to know yourself. What are your strengths? What are you good at? What brings you joy? What makes you happy? What encourages and inspires you? Find out those things about you that you like, that are strengths. There is no better confidence builder than for you to get to know you. And when you get to know you, then you can speak life to you. And that life that you speak to you, no death can combat that life that you are speaking to yourself. No negativity can combat that life that you are speaking to yourself. No person trying to degrade or demoralize you can come against or combat that life that you are speaking to yourself. So speak life. Do we all have weaknesses? Yes, we all have weaknesses. And I believe that is a part of being confident, not only acknowledging and speaking to your strengths, but recognizing and acknowledging your weaknesses. What are your areas of growth? As one of my supervisors says, she doesn't call it weaknesses. She says, what are your areas of growth? So what are your strengths? And then what areas can you grow in? And don't be intimidated or insecure with the areas that you need to grow in. Don't be insecure with the weaknesses that you have. It's okay. Everybody on the face of the earth has weaknesses, from the president of the United States down to the youngest person in the entire world. All of us have weaknesses. We have areas of strength. We have areas that we need to work on. It's just us being human beings, and it's okay. Get to know you, get to love you, appreciate you, encourage you, and don't let outside forces, outside words deter the confidence that you have in you. Hallelujah. Let me pass the offering plate. Yes, be confident in who you are and your ability. And when you are so confident in who you are, not confident to the point of arrogance, because we're not talking about arrogance, we're not talking about being prideful. You can be proud of yourself, because I'm proud that I'm an educator. I'm proud that I have my undergraduate degree. I'm proud that I have my master's degree. I'm proud of the position that I have on my job. I'm proud to be a Humphrey girl. Like, I'm proud to be a minister. I'm proud to be the leader of 2 nonprofits. I'm proud to be a business owner. I'm proud to be a published author. Like, I am proud of all of those accomplishments in my life. I'm proud to be an auntie and a big sister. Like, I am proud of who I am, and there is nothing that you can say or do that's going to keep me from being proud of who I am, or confident in who I am, or having the self-esteem that I have. I do get down every now and then, but I'm not going to stay down long, because I'm going to build myself back up. I'm going to speak life back to myself according to God's word. So God's word, Psalms tells us we are fearfully and wonderfully made. That my soul knows right well. I am unique. I am an original. I'm not going to copy nobody else, because Stephanie Humphrey is an original, and I don't have to copy anybody else. You know, I'm me, and I'm going to be me until the day the Lord calls me home. And there's nothing that you can do about it. So yes, we definitely need to be confident in who we are, and not be intimidated by the accomplishments or the education or the elevation of others. Okay, I had not planned to say all of that, but God knows what I need. He knows what you need. All right, I'm gonna take a sip. Y'all put your offering in. I'm gonna take a sip. So I'm gonna read a few more comments. I'm gonna give my closing remarks, and then I'm gonna really let y'all go. So my aunt mentions white society feels the loss of total control on our race, and they do not like it. I 100% agree. We are infiltrating their world and exposing their wrongdoing in public. Ooh, yes, amen. Amen. I totally agree on that. My aunt also goes on to say, and their lies for so many years. Yes, because they have lied about it. They have lied to us, and they have lied about us. But Black people are intelligent. We are resilient. We are inventors. We are policymakers. We are educators. We are creators. We are athletic. We are whatever you want to name us to be. That's who we are. We are strong. We are powerful. We are unique. We are a people who will not be held down. We will not be silenced any longer. Because they have tried through enslavement, through Jim Crow laws, through poll taxes, and even here in 2020, 2021, and 2022, them enacting all of these voter restriction laws. Y'all, Black people came out in record numbers in the 2020 presidential election, and I don't think white people were ready for it. I don't think the Republicans were ready for it, but they were ready to start trying to oppress us again by enacting laws to discourage us from voting. But you know what? We will not be stopped. We will not be moved. We will not be deterred. We will keep pressing forward. There's a song, I don't know if you all have seen, what is it? Oh, and I see the video. Dun, 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 dun. Keep your eyes on the prize, oh Lord. So there's a song in it. Oh gosh, what is it? There's a day I learned to fly. Keep your eyes on the prize, oh Lord. So I need to find that song. Because now I want to hear it. And see, what I'm seeing is while the singers are singing the song, you can see that there are people marching as they're singing the song. But it's the Eyes on the Prize series. Look, y'all, if y'all have never seen the Eyes on the Prize series, it takes us through the enslavement of Black people, takes us through the civil rights era, takes us through Reconstruction during that era, the civil rights era, and it takes us up, I think, to the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. It was either an 8 or a 10-part series that came on PBS years ago, like many years ago. And they used to play it every year for Black History Month, but I have not seen them playing it. So every year in February, I would I'm gonna tell you how old it is. I used to get it on VHS every year in fair because I don't own the Eyes on the Prize, but I wish I did. But I did try to buy it, but it's really expensive. But I would check the VHS tapes of Eyes on the Prize every year in February. It's like it was either 8 or 10 of them, and I would listen to them every February. I have not done that in many years. I think the last time, matter of fact, the last time I did it was before the pandemic. I got my Eyes on the Prize in February of 2020 because I couldn't take it back right away. Like I kept it for a long time. And I started to keep it and not turn it back to the library. Lord forgive me, but I did. I had that thought. I was like, I'm gonna keep this, and they're just gonna have to say it's lost. But when the libraries opened back up, I did take my Eyes on the Prize back to the library. But I got it. It's in DVD now. So I used to check it out in VHS, and then they have it on DVD. So I started checking out the DVD, and so I had this series when the pandemic hit. So I had a little bit more time to watch it. And I did, like I said, I did turn it back in, y'all. I didn't keep it. It's not hit my house. I turned it back in. But I really would love to get the full series, because it's such rich history and rich information about the Black experience. So, and some of the videos, y'all, are on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and type in Eyes on the Prize, you can tap into some of the video from PBS. I wish they would re-release Eyes on the Prize so that we can buy it and like have it in our library to show our children and to watch for ourselves. But I'll just have to keep checking it out from the library, if I want to watch it, or just tap into YouTube. I think Amazon Prime has a few of the series available, but it's not the full series. Like I want the full series, but anyway, I'm gonna get that. Let me write it down. I'm gonna get the Eyes on the Prize, and I'm gonna add the song to the description so that we can have it, because it goes with us marching, and it goes with us persevering, and it goes with us pressing on. So I'm gonna put it in the description. Y'all, sometimes when I say I'm gonna add something to the description, I forget what I'm supposed to add to the description, and I have to go back and listen to the video so I can have it. So I'm trying to write it down. I'm gonna start trying to write it down so I can remember as I'm going through the video and adding the description and everything like that. Okay, so yes, I agree. My aunt says we are just as smart as they are and smarter than most of them. I agree with that. We can adapt to our situation and make it work, but they cannot. Yes, we definitely know how to assimilate and how to adapt. In some cases, we shouldn't have to. We do know how to do it, but I don't think we should have to do it all the time. But we, code switching and all of that, we know how to do all of that, even with our hair, not only with our presentation. Well, our hair is part of our presentation, but yeah, with the pressed hair. Y'all, I love I got my little bald spot right here, but I love my natural hair. Like I would not go back to relaxed hair for anything, for nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. You know what, y'all, the Crown Act was passed. I didn't get the information about the Crown Act, but the Crown Act was passed. I think I'm about to look it up right now, y'all. I'm just remembering the Crown Act was passed in, and in case you don't know what the Crown Act, what Crown stands for, it stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. So I think the Crown Act was passed. Let me make sure I get it right. And it combats hair discrimination, because y'all have seen the videos where Black athletes have had to cut their hair the wrestling match. There was a young lady playing softball. There are children that have been discriminated as early as elementary school, have been discriminated against because of our natural, beautiful locks and coils. Y'all, I'm telling, Black people have been through some stuff. We have been through some stuff. We have been through some stuff and still going through stuff. But the Crown Act has passed in the House. So the House passed the Crown Act, the Democratic-led House, with a 235 to 189 vote. So it is passed in the House. So we are glad about that. I have not read the Crown Act in its entirety in a long time, so I'm going to have to read it, and I'll give you some more information about it. So let me write it down. I don't think I'm going to wait till the next Sip and Say. I think I'm going to either do a special show or maybe I'll share it during Bible study. But the Crown Act has passed in the House to prevent hair discrimination, in particular against Black and brown people. All right, so the last few things I want to say to us is 8:15, so if y'all have to go and understand, but I wanted to share just a few. There are 3 women in particular, and I'm gonna decrease the information that I have on them, but there are 3 women that I want to highlight in honor and celebration of Women's History Month. Y'all know last Thursday, I highlighted the Humphrey women, the women in my family. I celebrated them and I honored them. So I have 3 more that I want to acknowledge. Before I do, my mom noted it's sad that we have to do extra to prove ourselves, and then we are still misrepresented. I agree with that. Like, I remember hearing growing up, I don't know who I heard this from. I don't know if it was a family member or if it was somebody at church. I don't know who it was, but I remember hearing in the Black community that we have to work twice as hard to get half of what white people have. And it's so true. We could see that in the hearing for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. She had to work extra hard to prove to these white men, mainly, that she is qualified to do the job of a Supreme Court justice. We saw that very clearly, at least I saw it very clearly during the judiciary hearings for the confirmation of Judge Jackson to the Supreme Court. All right, so let me get to my 3 women that I want to celebrate, and then I promise y'all I'm gonna let y'all go. So first I want to highlight Miss Shirley Chisolm. Unbossed and let me make sure I say it right. Unbossed and unbound, I think is her motto. Let me make sure I'm saying it right. I didn't highlight it, so I got to look through all my notes that I have about her. Unbossed and unbought. I had it wrong. Unbossed and unbought. That was her motto for her presidential run. Unbossed. I need to get that on the logo. Like, I need to get that somewhere. I need to put it in my house. Unbossed and unbought. I love it. So Shirley Chisholm, we know that she was a congresswoman. I'm gonna try to make this as quick. I got a lot of notes, but I'm gonna try to make this as quick as absolutely possible. So Shirley Chisholm was born as Shirley Anita St. Hill on November 30th, 1924 in Brooklyn, North Carolina. She was the eldest of 4 daughters to her mom and dad, Charles St. Hill and Ruby Steele. They were both, well, her mom was from Barbados and her dad was from Guyana. And so she attended college at Brooklyn College on scholarship, graduated cum laude. I don't know why it mattered that she was on scholarship. I went to school on scholarship too. And she graduated cum laude with a bachelor's degree in sociology. In 1946, she also received a master's degree in early education from Columbia University. So Shirley Chisholm, she went on to direct 2 daycares. She was the New York City's division. She was the educational consultant for New York City's division of daycare. She was a New York State legislator, and she was also the 2nd African-American woman to serve in Albany. So I just want to highlight just a few things. So Shirley Chisholm, she was She decided, well, she was a, let me go, I gotta move through my computer, I can't touch it. So she served on the state legislature, but she decided to run for Congress, y'all. And so she was against 3 other Black candidates, and she won the nomination in the primaries. In the general election, she was against James Farmer. So I don't know if y'all remember who James Farmer is, but he was one of the co-founders of CORE, the Congress, I'm sure I said it right, Congress of Racial Equality. So CORE was in existence during the civil rights era, during the existence of SNCC and some of the other, SNCC is a Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. So some of these organizations, by some of the young Black people in our communities, they created these organizations in order to be community activists, you know, for voting rights and other civil rights during that time. So he was a leader of CORE. So I don't know, I've heard James Farmer's name, and I've done a little bit of study on him. He was an advocate for Black people, for voting rights, for adequate housing, for the Freedom Riders. Like, he was an amazing, you don't hear much about him, you know, but he was an amazing activist during the civil rights era. And so it was Shirley Chisholm and James Farmer. And to me, both of them deserved it. He was a Republican, she was a Democrat. I don't like some of the things that he said, but we won't get into that right now. But he did have a few things to say about women that I didn't like, but it was what it was. Shirley Chisholm won. Needless to say, she beat James Farmer, and she became a member of the United States House of Representatives. She actually won 67% of the vote against him. And one thing about Shirley Chisholm is that she spoke Spanish fluently, so she was also able to appeal to the Latino community. She got that 67% vote, and she beat out Mr. James Farmer that has some things to say about women. All right. So she was a House of Representative. She came in what some would consider radical, but she came in Black power. And so of course she was not well received in Congress. They felt like since she was new, she should kind of, you know, tone it down, kind of get familiar with their way of doing things. You know, these was white men, y'all, you know where I'm going, right? So they felt like she should kind of come in soft and kind of quiet and gentle. But this is what Shirley Chisholm said: I have no intention of just sitting quietly and observing. She didn't have time for that. She said, I intend to focus attention on the nation's problems. And she was the only new woman, you all, to enter Congress in 1969. So we got a whole bunch of men, a whole bunch of white men, this Black power woman with her afro coming up in there. And, you know, she wore some wigs too, but I'm just saying. But they had a problem with her. But Shirley Chisholm was Shirley Chisholm. She was not going to be silenced. And so she decided in, I think it was 82. Not 82, let me go back a little bit further. In 72, I knew I had that wrong. 72, she decided to seek the nomination for the Democratic Party for president. She only received 10% of the vote, so she did not receive that nomination. But I thought that was awesome because she was the first woman, first Black, I don't know if she was the first one, but I know she was the first Black woman to seek the presidential, I think she was the first woman. Maybe not, but she was definitely the first Black woman to seek the candidacy or to seek the Democratic nomination for candidacy to the President of the United States. So again, she didn't get the votes, but I still celebrate her in her endeavor, you know, to become our president in the 70s. Yeah. So anyway, she continued to serve in the House of Representatives. In 82, Shirley Chisholm, she decided not to run again. And this is what she said to Christian Science Monitor. She said, Shirley Chisholm would like to have a life of her own, because she had been fighting for the people for a long time. So she decided, you know, that she would not seek re-election to Congress. And so, she wrote and she lectured. You know, her health was declining, you know, which tends to happen when we get older. So she lectured and wrote in Florida until she passed away in 2005, January 1st, 2005 in Florida. So celebrations of Shirley Chisholm. Y'all, I'm so mad that Shirley Chisholm was alive while I was alive. Like, I didn't know that. You know, oh man, when I read that, I was like 2005, like I was alive and an adult in 2005. I wish I could have got a chance to actually meet her, you know, but that's Shirley Chisholm. Okay, I got two more and I'm gonna be quick. Mary McLeod Bethune is my lady. Mary McLeod Bethune started her own school. I used to following, you know, or reading about and understanding and learning about Mary McLeod Bethune when I was a little bit younger than I am now. I used to want to start my own school because I'm like, man, she started her own school in 1904, October 3rd, 1904, y'all. Mary McLeod Bethune started the Daytona Literary and Industrial Training Institute for Negro girls, y'all. In 1904, she started her own school. Man, I was like, if Mary McLeod Bethune can do it, surely I can do it. But I decided not to, and you know, I got over that really quick. But y'all, she started the school with $1.50. Now, I don't know what that would equate to in 2022, but in 1904, she took $1.50 and she started her school. I'm like, yes. So she only started with 5 girls and then her son. And over time, the school grew. In 2 years, actually, the school grew to 250 students. In 1923, the Daytona Normal School, it merged with Cookman Institute and it became Bethune-Cookman College, y'all. Mary McLeod Bethune has a school named after her. Bethune-Cookman College is an HBCU, no. So in 1935, Mary McLeod Bethune, she founded the National Council of Negro Women, and she also helped found the United Negro College Fund. In 36, she was appointed by President Roosevelt to the National Youth Administration. She also became the National Youth Administration's, the National Council of Negro Women. She became the Director of Negro Affairs. She lobbied for the Civilian Pilot Training Program. I'm sorry, let me say that again. She lobbied for the integration of the Civilian Pilot Training Program, and she lobbied to have that program brought to HBCUs. For those of you who don't know what an HBCU is, it is a historically Black university and college. So HBCU, no. So her advocacy to have this pilot program on HBCU's campus, it allowed for make sure I say it right. Her advocacy allowed some of the first Black pilot graduates, in the United States. Go ahead, Mary McLeod Bethune. And there were so many other things that Mary McLeod Bethune did. She was appointed to in the political arena by President Harry Truman, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. She was also the co-owner of a resort in Daytona, Florida. She also co-founded Central Life Insurance Company in Tampa. She was a businesswoman. She was an advocate. She was a political figure. And I celebrate Miss Mary McLeod Bethune. She passed away in 1955. All right, last woman I want to highlight. I didn't have enough time to get enough information, but I just recently started paying more attention to Fannie Lou Hamer. So yeah, I need to do some more research about her advocacy. She advocated for voting rights for Black people. She did voting rights drives. She was actually thrown in jail and beaten while she was in jail, which caused some health problems, you know, for having these voting drives and trying to get folks to vote. She founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. She did go to the actual Democratic Party for them to recognize her party, which she had some, you know, pushback for that. She helped organize Freedom Summer in 1964. She was, again, an advocate, a singer, and I just really admire the work she did and the fight that was in her. Like, if you hear her sing and hear her talk, you can hear and understand the power and the fight that is within her. And I just recently started just like paying more attention to Fannie Lou Hamer and the work that she did as an advocate in the Black community. So again, I celebrate celebrate her. I'm going to do some more research on her so I can get to know her a little bit better. But I definitely celebrate Shirley Chisolm, Mary McLeod Bethune, and Fannie Lou Hamer. There's so many more Black women to celebrate. I mean, we got Mae Jameson, our forever First Lady Michelle Obama. Oprah Winfrey has had great success as a Black woman and a Black businesswoman. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, and some other names that I can't even think of right now. But there are women all across our country, Black women, white men, women, Asian women, Latino women, Native American and indigenous women who are fighting, who are advocating, who are supporting their communities, who are standing up for their communities, who are doing great work for the benefit of all people. And so I salute all women in the great work that you are doing. Even if you don't consider yourself an advocate or a change maker, you are an advocate. You are a change maker. You can make change. You don't have to have a national or an international platform to affect change. You can affect change in your home. You can affect change in your family. You can affect change in your community. So to you, woman, I celebrate you, I honor you, and I salute you during this Women's History and Celebration Month. All right. I promise I'm done. I am done. I really appreciate you all hanging in there with me. I think this is probably the longest Sip and Say with Stephanie that I have ever done, but I have enjoyed myself. I thank you for being a part of Sip and Say with Stephanie. I thank you for joining me on Thursdays for Bible study for Sip and Say with Stephanie. I appreciate you so much, your presence, your communicating with me, your live chats, even the comments that come in later about my broadcast. Not all of the comments are so you can see them. Some of them come through a phone call or a text message, and I appreciate that feedback and those comments as well. So let me just look at the chat for just a bit. Oh, my mom said roaring female lion. I totally agree. I totally agree. So look, y'all, I look forward to seeing all of us. Actually, y'all, I think I'm going to take a break next Thursday. It's going to be the fifth Thursday. I normally don't do anything on fifth Thursday. So I think I'm going to take a break next Thursday and just relax and recoup. If I decide to go on, it might be something impromptu just to chat with you about whatever. But for the most part, I think I'll just take it off unless something major comes up. I'll just take it off and relax and rest. So I will see you all. And so look, so on April 7th, I will have the broadcast, but it's going to be pre-recorded. I actually have a meeting that I need to attend on April 7th. So Bible study will be on, but I will not be live. I will, though, try to chat with you because I think I can do some multitasking with my meeting, which is virtual, and chat with you during the Bible study. So again, I'll be on. It just won't be live. So I look forward to seeing you on April 7th. And then let me look at my calendar, April 7th and then April 14th live with the Bible study. And then on the 21st and 28th for Sip and Say with Stephanie. Look, y'all, again, I appreciate you. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to share the broadcast with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers, so that we can all get the information that we need, so that we can engage with each other, encourage each other, chat with each other, and y'all get our Sip and Say on. All right. God bless y'all. Good night.